What is up, everybody? I'm going to try to figure this game out today. I got the new starter set. It's the Wonder Woman 80th anniversary miniatures game. It's the starter set, 10 miniatures, the map, the rules, the abilities cards, got everything that I need to get going. And I figured what better way to really iron out all the details and the rules than just start from scratch with a fresh, modern set. And this is the most recent DC Comics set. I've got a lot of Marvel sets and Marvel pieces from back in the day when I used to play, and don't have nearly as many DC figures. And I'm definitely leaning toward wanting more DC figures. And I figure once I get adjusted to the new rules and see what's different and get comfortable playing, since I'm not playing for a tournament, it's all recreational for me. That I could probably integrate the Marvel versus DC stuff pretty easily. I've noticed most of the new Marvel sets are like X of Swords or War of the Realms, and I just like the straightforward kind of heroes. I like the heroes without all the extra specificity of like the that storylines and more modern storylines. And I've got most of those figures, so I want to be able to just kind of play it with anybody. But I want to bust this into this. I don't know why, but I'm like freaking nervous about getting into this and trying to figure it out. I'm feeling like, what if I'm too stupid to learn this game? I'll feel bad. So we're gonna see if I can figure it out. But this is awesome. Great box set. You can see 6 of the 10 pieces already. And yeah, the packaging is fantastic. It's got some weight to it. Definitely sturdy. I don't know why I'm reviewing the box like that, but it's got everything that you need in it. And we're about to open it up and look at it as we get it set up. Shay. And I appreciate anybody who's popping into the chat. If you want to throw any pointers or tips my way, I'm all ears. Especially if you're not new to this game, feel free to chime in. So there's the set. It's got its own set of dice. It does require 2 6-sided die or D6s to play the game, and these have the Wonder Woman 80 anniversary logo for what I'm assuming is number 6. Typically, they have the set logo on the die. So there's all the peoples. We'll get them out after we get everything else out, because I don't want to get sidelined by it. So yeah, let's start with what's on bottom, which would be the map. So normally it's been a paper map. She's in there, Jim. She's in there real quick. Hey to everybody who popped in. We got Digger Jim in here. He came to learn how to play. Me too, Jim. Kyle, aka Wheelchair Superhero 87. What is going on, brother? We are Legion. Tyler, you did win every day, all day. That's all you know. That's all you do. Oh, Marvel. No, I'm definitely a Marvel fan. I just, you guys know when it comes to reading right now, just more interested in the DC stuff more than the Marvel. I still pick up some Marvel, but I've got way more Marvel figures than I do DC. I need to even the odds a little bit. I want to start running some of these verses, these classic battles that I have in my head that are always so fun and happen so few times in comics. I got my legacy card to update my old Thanos Heroclix, so he's completely modern. I want to run like a game with like Dark Side and some of the minions from Apocalypse against Thanos and maybe some of the cosmic characters. I think it would be cool to run some of those classic fights that they're so fun to discuss and debate about. We can figure this game out, Tyler says. God, I hope so. I definitely hope so. And I think that I'm overthinking it. That's why I went with this classic set, not classic, but this starter set. So I don't know what old rules still apply and what old rules do not still apply. You know what I mean? So I figured instead of trying to figure that out, I need to just reteach myself the game. Because I remember plenty enough about the game to sit down and play an old version of the game the way that myself and my brother used to. But I want to be able to play the game as it's written in the rules. And so the whole theory of it's easier to hire a new employee than it is to teach an old employee the new way to doing stuff. I just wanted to scratch what I do and just start from the beginning. And I think this is really cool right here. The fact that the maps are typically like regular maps like you would get when you're traveling. They're paper, they're fold up, they're two-sided, but this isn't a map. It's a game board. It's actually solid. And it is double-sided, so I'm gonna have to solve this puzzle. Sorry for the crinkling, but I'm gonna crinkle for a second there. So hopefully the borders are different colors. Great, the borders are not different colors. Wow. So let's see if we can figure this out. P's. What letters we got on this side? H's. Okay. H, G, A, B. Right, so there's where it tells us what we're dealing with here. We have Mount Olympus if we want an indoor map, and we have Paradise Island for an outdoor map. I definitely want an outdoor map. I don't know why. So obviously these A's, A9. Look at that, it's coming together. So if I remember, like these newer maps are way smaller than the old maps. So yeah. This is coming together well. That's a corner. So it should be right here, yeah. That goes up there. It should go right here. Oh, wow. Oh, that's really cool. I'm going to get it adjusted. Just the hair here. So there we go. Oh, that's really cool. So this is outside Themyscira. So at the bottom of the screen here, it looks like the beach. You know, the ocean would be all over here. And it's like you're coming in upon Themyscira and you have the actual beach. And then up top, you have some stairs and stuff where you have the foundation, a couple of huts. These are rooftops. Looks like a table here, some statues, some stone statues, and same thing over there. Pretty symmetrical map. And what's cool and what's new to me is some of this elevated terrain and stuff. I do know that's what these red diagonal lines up here that is to represent that the terrain on one side is elevated from the other. There's some numbers right here and diamonds to let you know that there's a 1 on the bottom of the diamond and a 2 on the top to let you know that this is down and this is up. And it's the concepts are all straightforward. Like if you're standing right on this diagonal red line that represents terrain shift, you cannot step up it, but you are able to attack people like if they're on the ledge. So it's like kind of like if you had a bow and arrow, you could shoot at somebody who's leaning right over the edge of something, but if they take one step back, they're no longer in your line of sight. So they put a lot of thought. It really just, this game just fueled my imagination because it seems to flow when it flows, if that makes sense. Let's see. Digger said, I want Victoria. She's in here. Austin LeMay, what is up? Tyler said, I'd jump on that, but I'm going to fall asleep at some point soon. I'm watching, though. All right. Kyle, this map is insane. I kind of want to try to convince the wife to come over here and tinker with this, but she embarrassingly beat me last time we did that. Still more than welcome. So let's see what some of the stuff that comes in here is and try to go from there. So first off, I think these are what's called scenario cards. So you can play just like a straight up battle game. And this is something that I was interested in because I think like there is an element to this game that you can definitely play and have plenty of fun if it's just you playing. But scenario B, uncovering Cersei's plan. So it reads, Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl found out that Cersei met Medusa and the cheetah to fight them. The villains were teleported away by magic before the heroes could figure out why. Hopefully, Wonder Woman's mystical allies can help lend a hand. Map, and it tells you what map to use. The hero player plays Donna Troy and Mary Shazam, a.k.a. Mary Marvel, at 30 points each. And the whole at points each just lets you know where they start with their abilities and stuff, their powers. And then it tells you what villains to play as well. And so it tells you on the back of the card, if you're the hero, how you win, and if you're the villain, how you win. So it's kind of like a little miniature game laid out. So we might try to run one of those once we get all this unpacked, just to keep it. I think that would be easy. There's numerous ones of those that you can play, which I think is fantastic. And this has actually got me. I have an item on the way in the mail that before I even knew they had these, that I wanted to get, just to kind of, because the concept behind the figure is just scenario play. It doesn't work in tournaments. I guess I'm probably going to need to get some kind of card holders. I just head up to the Augusta Book Exchange and get some card holders. I should have gotten some today. Oh, wow, okay, that makes sense. All right, so I was wondering for a second, in the character cards, each Heroclix comes with a card that shows their abilities on it, as well as their dials. And if you look, there's two for the same Wonder Woman, and this while I was talking about where it tells you what points to start them at. So the same Wonder Woman has two different working sets of abilities on her dial. Like one's represented on the back end of the card, and one's represented on the front end, so that you can play like a Wonder Woman that's on like kind of depowered version, or like a more powered up version, depending on what point team you're going to set up. And the whole points with the team, every Heroclix is worth a certain amount of points. So if you're playing a 300 point game, you can only have X amount of Heroclix that add up to 300 points. And so that you and the person you're playing are somewhat on the same playing field. And then it comes with two sets of the abilities and power sheets. And this is your little go-to, because every Heroclix, underneath their speed, their attack, their defense, and their damage, they might have a different color icon, and that you just kind of look on here for the color and read what ability or power it has. Which, for example, if you have a red on your speed or your feet, it says make up to 2 close attacks. So it's called a flurry. So if you're someone who is capable of flurrying, you get to make 2 attacks instead of 1 in your turn, stuff like that. And it kind of just plays into the character that you're using as well. So it kind of, their abilities match what you would expect that character to really be able to do in a battle. And this is where things start to get dicey at this point. I also do want to point out we have the core rule book here, which this is, I've been kind of looking over one that Paul printed out for me. Again, shout out to the Augusta Book Exchange. And I understand the way that things move and stuff like that. It's really just some of the more newer mechanics of it, like using these tokens, which like you pop them out, they represent items laying on the ground, or just just little extra characters that can be there, like a shadow Wonder Woman or just random Amazons. I do not know how those work, but it does tell you on the back. So when we get to it, we will figure it out. And then we got 2 more of them, as well as in the middle there, we have just some objects. Objects do lay around on the map where you can take your character and go over the object. And if it's a character, for example, with super strength, you're able to, quote unquote, pick up the object. And then when you attack, it inflicts more damage to the people you're attacking. And then you're able to put stuff in your environment. Again, the bottom ones are just some of those little auxiliary characters, but you have debris, smoke, and barriers, which are, I know like smoke and barriers are something that can be used with your abilities. Like if you're a character, for example, that can do constructs or something, you can cast barriers out that last for X amount of time. Same thing with smoke, if you're capable of doing smoke screens and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how that actually works. So yeah, on the back of them, it says special, so that you know what's what. And going back to this one real quick, at the top, you have what are called action tokens. So those when one of your character on your turn, when a character makes a move, you put an action token next to them. Or if you have actual, they do make like actual tokens that are about the same diameter as the Heroclix base that you can set down and set them on top of it. And that lets you know how many times that character is moved. You can only move them up to 2 times without having to give them a rest and clearing the action tokens. And again, that's another thing that I'm not 100% sure of, because back when I played, you can only move a character twice. You know, they can only have 2 action tokens on them, and if you move them again, you'd have to give them a click of damage to show that they were getting fatigued or wearing out. So if you let a character on your team not make an action in one of your turn, it gives them the ability to catch their breath and remove those action tokens from what I understand at this point. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Mary Marvel is definitely a cool one. I'm about to pull out the pieces here in just a second. We don't need no more rules. Let's roll Hulk smash. Yeah, yeah. What's funny, Jim, is you say that, but haven't gotten into the rules. We just pulled them out, but we're about to pull out the pieces now, and take a look at the characters that are in here. We might pull out a scenario and just kind of read a scenario, and then try to work our way through the scenario and play it out. So first off, let's just start with a woman of the hour. It's her birthday. This is just a straight up Wonder Woman with a 1942 suit on. That's a pretty cool piece. And where you see this little white part of the dial, it actually has the Wonder Woman logo in it. That's where it shows you what set the Heroclix comes from. And the color of the logo lets you know if this piece is a common, uncommon, rare, super rare. And I believe that all of the pieces in this set are all just regular common pieces, which kind of puts them all into the same level playing field wise. So this is kind of definitely good for a starter set for sure. All right, let's just go on down. So here's the Mary Marvel, or as they call her, Mary Shazam. Oh, sorry. Like it a lot. I can already tell I'll dominate this game. Probably, man. I'm so unsure of myself for some reason. And because Brother John asked for it, here it comes. We've got Donna Troy, or Jim asked for that one. And I love that she's in the kind of cosmic suit. You know, I like when they pulled that out, and that, like, what was it, like the DC special, like around the time that Cyborg Superman put a hole in her chest and killed her. And sticking with the females, the Wonder Woman's here. We have Wonder Girl, and isn't that the Cassie from Teen Titans? So that's really cool. All right, and speaking of Titans or Young Justice, we have Miss Martian McGann, another awesome one. So these sculpts are always really cool, man. That's one thing that really drew me to these when I was younger. So again, this is a great starter set, well balanced. There's 5 of our protagonists. So let's look at some of these villains here, starting with probably my favorite Wonder Woman villain is Cheetah, probably just because she's the most recognizable for me. Jeez. So it's cool. So a lot of these on the bases, you'll be able to see it, but there's 2 numbers right there. There's a green one and a red one, and it kind of lets you know if you want to start it at like the weaker tier or the more powerful tier, and it changes their value. Like if you start her with her being more powerful, she's worth 40 points when you're adding up your team to see what your team's total value is, so that you and your opponent have you don't go over a team value, so you have even teams you're versing. But that's another thing that's new to me with these things. But that cheetah is really cool, definitely sculpted good. It's got a really, really good paint job on it. I have recently got the cheetah from the Justice League Unlimited, and it's more of the yellow. All right, here's Medusa. You can tell from the snake hair. We got some awesomeness with Medusa. I'm not going to get this thing to focus well on, so I'm not going to sit there and fight all day with it. There's Cersei. Boom, 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 boom. We have a Silver Swan. Remember her from the Bloodline movie that came out with the DC animated films. And then we've got Star Sapphire. It's really cool. Really cool. All right, let's try to get these die out of here. That was actually surprisingly easy. All right, so we've got everything out. So they're the die. You got a 6-sided die, and then there's the Wonder Woman symbol that represents number 6. So they do that with all of their set dice. And it's cool in gold and red. All right. Let's see. Can you do it as a team or by yourself? I guess both. I mean, if you wanted to sit there and have a buddy with you and sit there and decide what y'all's next move is going to be, I'm sure you can do it. All right. Let's figure it out. All right, let's get this getting started phase going. The base, the combat dial, standard powers. All right. There are colors around some combat values on your combat dial. These are standard powers. The powers and abilities card, PAC for short. That's a pack. Thank you, baby. The packs for short for these. Describe each one by matching the slot and color to get a specific power. You can then read what it does. For example, red in the speed spot, which that's actually the example we used earlier. Red in the speed spot means flurry. Look it up on the pack. Mary Shazam in this box has flurry. More of these later. So the combat values explaining the dials, which we know. Starting lines. Yeah, we know about that. Starting lines is just on the dial. It shows you their stats, and as they get hit, you turn it, and they eventually hit KO'd, and they're all dead. But if you look on their dial, they have a little line that indicates where number 1 is, where you start at. Success and failure, we know how that works. Action tokens. Here we go, something I need clarification on. When a character takes an action, they receive an action token, which are these little things I'm not going to use. I got actual action tokens that I need to pull out. They seem to work easier. I don't want these little things everywhere. You can denote this however you like. Many players place a cardboard token or poker chip underneath the character's dial. Characters can't have more than 2 action tokens. All right, this is the part they don't ever explain. At the end of your turn, if a character didn't receive any action tokens this turn, clear all the tokens from them at the end of your turn. So that's something that's new because they don't use the push anymore. They don't let you exhaust your players and wear them out. You're not allowed to move past 2. And there's a lot of moves and actions you can take that don't cost you action because they're part of your abilities. So I just that's something I just gotta just play it to figure out really comfortably. And also there's a lot of really cool artwork in this thing as well. Heroclix play areas. Heroclix characters can be in a few different places. The map. This is the most important place in a Heroclix game. Of course, it's where it takes place. Each player is in a different purple starting area. More on those later. So here those are right here, but there's hindering terrain that you can't start here. So right there. So it's, yeah. So yeah. And I don't know why that one's in green. We'll have to figure that out later. KO area. When a character is KO'd, they go here. Your KO area should be next to the map. Okay, so that's just anywhere not on the map. This is an example. The blue and red squares are adjacent to each other. Talking about what adjacent is, know what that is. Friendly and opposing characters on your team are friendly to one another, including themselves. Your opponent's characters are opposing yours. Blah, 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 blah. 20 character cards, blah, blah, blah. 2 whatever dies. Map tiles. Got it. 18 objects in terrain. So that's just an inventory of what we got in here. Then here's a list of the characters that we have in here. Let's see. Moving forward. Building a team. Your team has 2 key parts. Your starting force, which is typically 300 points. Your map, even though your opponent might get to use one of their maps, or your scenario might dictate the map. There are some restrictions to apply to all teams. A team can only have 1 prime figure, denoted by a green ring. For example, if your team has a prime Wonder Woman on it, you cannot have a prime Batman. There are no prime characters in the starter set. There would, around the outside edge, all the way around on the top of the dial, it would be green. And that, yeah, that's how you know that. A team can only have 1 copy of each unique figure, denoted by a silver ring. Same concept, but you can have multiple unique characters. So if you had a Wonder Woman with a silver ring around her. You cannot have a secondary Wonder Woman. Blah blah blah. I mean, you cannot have a secondary unique one, but you can have a different one with a different dial, sculpt, whatever, different click number. Each Heroclix has its own specific identity number, so you know what it is on a checklist. None of the characters in this box are prime or unique. So it shows you how to use their cards to add up their point value so you can build your team based on a point system. Theme teams. After revealing your force, if all the characters on your starting force share at least one keyword, you can pick that keyword as your theme team. So they haven't explained this keyword thing, but I do know that a lot of these figures have like what's called team abilities. So on the back of Wonder Woman, she has a symbol for Wonder Woman, which denotes like other characters that have that same symbol might have an ability that they share for being on the same team. Mary Marvel has what looks like Dr. Fate symbol to denote that she's part of the DC Magic characters. And for example, Sapphire has the Injustice League symbol on hers. Austin says it kind of reminds me of the more interactive versions of Risk, and I've seen Risk played like once or twice in my life, and just because the pacing of the game at my age, I really didn't understand what I was looking at, but it looked cool. What, Kyle? My wife went, yeah, I probably would be overwhelmed with it still. All right. Let's see. Keywords are listed below a character's name on their card, separated by commas. All righty. Amazon, Justice League, Warrior. So those are the keywords. So yeah, they're right under their character card, which I guess they use keywords instead of team abilities, I guess. Well, team ability is the one that's shown on there. Okay, so they have both. That's something that's new and more complex than before, but it's definitely straightforward. So you just look at your team, or if you're trying to build one, check the cards ahead of time to see if you have shared keywords. So I wonder where you find out what the abilities attached to your keywords are. It says team ability and tells you for Wonder Woman, super senses, but only succeeds on a 6 if you roll it. If the character can already use super senses instead, increase the result of its roll for super senses by 1. So they all have little boosts and bonuses you can kind of group up a team to get.
Now we need some Spider-Man figures so we can have some super spidey senses.
Yeah, super Peter Tingle. Initiative bonus. When deciding who will go first, each player with a theme team adds the number of characters with their chosen keyword to their 2 dice. Roll to determine who will go first. So you get brownie points if you put together a theme team with keywords when you're rolling to see who gets to go first. The maximum bonus of players may get to their roll from the initiative bonus is +3 more than their opponent. Unnecessarily confusing for no reason. For example, you have a theme team with 3 characters. You roll a 6 for a total of 9. Okay. But it's still unnecessary. Your opponent does not have a theme team, so would need to roll a 10 to go first. Yeah, you get an advantage just in going first or second if you have a theme team. All right, probability control. This is something that's also new. I keep hearing about this whole probability thing in groups and stuff, and so here we go. Theme team probability control. Probability control is a standard power, and it shows you here what it looks like on the abilities chart. Once per turn, you may re-roll a target character's attack roll or breakaway roll. A targeted character must be within range of line of fire, minimum range value 6. So if you're a character who has probability control, it just gives you an extra chance to make a successful attack or runaway. Because if somebody runs up to you and they get into an adjacent square as you're in what's called locked combat. You can't just on your next turn decide just to run away all willy-nilly. You actually have to roll for the ability to run away. It's called breaking away. Characters on a theme team can use probability control up to X total times per game for that force. X is equal to the number of characters with the chosen keyword on that starting force to a maximum of 3. Okay, that does make a little bit of sense, not too confusing. Your goal is to win in one of the following ways. KO all of your opponent's characters that have combat dial. complete a win condition defined by the scenario. So those are the only two ways. Okay. Setting up the play, greet your opponent. Hello, nobody. Hello, chat. Kyle, hey, what's up?
Yeah, living my best
I'm
life.
living your best life. It told me to greet my opponent.
I'm not even playing you.
Yeah, but it felt natural. Reveal your team.
That doesn't bode well for us.
Well, it depends on who loses.
You?
Yeah, exactly. Reveal your team. Select themed teams, if any. Turn all characters to their starting. Click. Each player rolls 2d6 and adds their. I kind of all right. So I guess at this point I need to pull a scenario out. Let's run a scenario. Let's see. Plays Miss Martian, Donna Troy, and Wonder Girl. Donna Troy. Miss Marvel. Trying to find a scenario here. What do we got here? Let's just do this one. It was super basic. It was the first one we picked up. Team. Let's see. We're going to do this one. Mystery. Well, no, that's Mount Olympus. See map, Paradise Island. So I'm not changing the map over. That's for damn sure. Everything wants you to play at Paradise Island. Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl. So we got two scenarios here. One requires Miss Martian, Donna Troy, and Wonder Girl. So this is the Teen Titans Take Charge scenario versus Star Sapphire and Silver Swan. And this one would require just Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl. And they would play against Cheetah and Medusa. So is there a specific one y'all might want to see ran? The 2-on-2 or the 3-on-2? There's more powerful characters. Victoria and Miss Martian for the win. We're going with this team right there. That's what it is. Digger Jim says so. So we'll pull these off the playing field. So we'll put them in what was called our KO'd area. And I have bought some Wonder Woman booster packs already. And one thing that I did get in them, that was just happened to be sitting out, wasn't putting up, was just an Amazon Warrior. Just a kind of cannon fodder, more for less. Just trying to fill in the gaps of the team that you've built. I'm going to have to go get a new phone charger today. Bummer. All right, so let me put these other scenario cards up as to not lose stuff. All right, extra ability sheet and those things. Let's get this over here. All right, so reveal your team. They've been revealed. Select theme team and turn all players. Blah, blah, blah. So let's see where this tells me to start them at. Miss Martian, Donna Troy, and Wonder Girl at 30 points each. So we're starting them on their lower dials. Let's see. It's the green one. That's green. 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 I'm going to rather spin her around to green. Where you at? Green. I do think it's cool that they like make it where you have like two figures in one with these multiple starting and end points. All right. Silver Swan, 30 points each. 30 is green. 30 is green. Make sure those are right. The third, so they're all at their proper starting points. I don't know if I'll be using these, but they're in the way at this point. All right. Each player roll 2d6 and add their initiative bonus. The player with the highest result is the first player. The player with the lowest result is the second player. The first player picks the map, starting with the second player. Each player chooses a starting area and puts their starting force on the map. Start the game. Effects that happen at the beginning of the game happen now. The first player takes the first turn. Setting up objects. If you're playing with objects, place them at the same time as your characters. For more details on objects, see Objects, page 12. Each player can place up to 3 objects in squares outside of starting area. So both team gets to set objects on the map. Let me grab these tokens. I need those. So instead of using those punch out tokens, those action tokens I showed you earlier, these are the poker chip style ones. They're heavy duty, they're themed. These are the Elseworlds themed one, and they kind of fit nicely. If you want to move your character, you can move them and just sit on there and it shows their stuff. All right, let's see. Not all of them. This is one thing I don't understand with these smaller teams and the limited number of actions you can take. How that's going to work out with these things. So let's get their character cards out real fast. See, Wonder Woman is not on the playing field. Mary Morrow is on the playing field. Donna Troy is with her green. Young Justice Wonder Girl is with her green. Miss Martian green. Star Sapphire green. Silver Swan green. So we got those out. All right, let's check this out real quick. Wonder Woman is busy with the Justice League, but some of the Teen Titans try to stop Star Sapphire and Silver Swan from causing more problems on Paradise Island. Map Paradise Island, you got this. People out if Star Sapphire or Silver Swan are KO'd, place the cheetah in the square they occupied this game. The cheetah's damage is +1. Oh wow, so Cheetah is a curveball character in this. She jumps in when somebody gets KO'd, so we'll get her pulled out. Her damage is +1. What does that even mean? Oh, but where do you start at? I'm assuming you'd start at green, everyone else is. Huh. So on the back, the hero player. If you win, KO Silver Swan and Star Sapphire. The heroes have won the campaign. They might not know who was behind it, but the world is safe again. The villains, if you win, KO 2 opposing characters. Proceed to Scenario G. What is Scenario G? I'm glad I read that ahead of time. So let's see. Scenario G. Is there more stuff in here? Scenario H. Yeah, there's more scenario cards. Scenario G. So potentially would need that. Scenario G. Cersei created a dark parody of Themyscira that she intended to replace with the real one. Wonder Woman and her allies will need to defeat Cersei on her dark magical island and put a stop to this danger. If Cersei can maintain this spell, it would mean indescribable terrors for Themyscira and the rest of the world. I don't know why you would proceed to Scenario G. I don't understand how that would be applicable. It looks like its very own scenario, just like the rest of them.
I'm not pulling everything out right now, buddy.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I'm sure you still have it.
All right. Setting up objects. Let's see, hero KO area. So there's the map, the layout. It's placing the starting areas on the 2 corners of the map, and that map does not reflect my outside. starting area are the pink areas. Okay, so just like I pointed out, this area and then this small little 2 square area. What are these green dotted places? Check out the 3 actions, the number of free actions. Talking about the actions a little bit here. Like moving is simple. You have a little foot symbol, and that's how many steps you can take. You have an attack symbol, all that. But putting these little tokens on your people is still somebody I want to get figured out properly. So it says action. Your character will get an action token after they perform an action. Characters who already have received an action token this turn can't do anything that would give them another action token. There are 2 kinds of actions, basic and some standard powers. If you don't take an action within another, you don't get an additional action token. For example, attacking during a standard power won't give you an additional action token. Free actions, here we go. Free actions do not occur in an action token. A character can't use the same free action twice in a turn. So some people will have what's called a free action. They'll have an ability where, for example, they have sidestep. They're able just to move two squares in the beginning of a turn, and it doesn't actually cost them their move. So because each character can only move once per turn, so if you have an ability that you're able to sidestep, it's not considered a move, and then you can then continue with your actual move. So if you have like 2 tokens on you already and you're hindered from moving this turn, you can still sidestep and then do nothing else. And so the next turn you're able to clear those action tokens kind of thing. And then you'd be able to attack moving forward. Breaking away, I know pacing. Blah, blah, blah. Pacing is when you take a game element on the map and place it on another square on the map. Placing characters isn't a moving further. Don't know what that is. On a fire, range attacks, I know that. Attacking. Every character that has a number of lightning bolt next to their range value, that is how many characters they may target at once with their attack. A character with multiple bolts is able to use an attack like a lightning storm or an enormous roundhouse kick. Determine targets. Every attack must have at least 1 target. Some attacks can have multiple targets, but the same attack cannot target a character more than once. Determine your hits, I know. Dealing damage, I know. Knockback sequence. That's how you do that. Critical hit. Like this is just explaining the attack. What's a successful attack and what's not. That's all pretty straightforward. And if you roll snake eyes, if you only needed a successful roll of 1 to hit your opponent, and you roll snake eyes, which equals 2, you still miss the attack for rolling snake eyes. And then the opposite is true for rolling 2 6s. You get what's called a critical hit. And the critical hit deals an extra blow of damage to them. See, Lasso would be proud. He definitely would be. Nicholas Gold. Goldra, what is up? I've always wondered about this so-called click game. What is it all about? Thank you for helping fill the void. Yeah, I'm trying to relearn myself how to play with this modern set. It's been over 15 years since I played. So since I played like kind of proper. Let's see. So I was kind of breezing through the rule book here. I think most of the learning curve is just going to be playing through on the powers and abilities. I'm about to get these figures set up. Terrain, objects, other actions, that's something I'm going to need to check out, as well as this new terrain stuff. So I guess we'll kind of breeze through that, set up the characters, and then start rolling this. Earlier we mentioned standard powers. The power action card, I think that's what it was, each one of these. Our previous example was Flurry, which was red in the speed slot. Your character's card also has a circle that matches a colored gem with the matching combat symbol and shows game terms in parentheses and flavor text in bold. For example, reflexes. Okay, if a power or a trait has move, range, close, or power, then it takes an action to use. For example, charge lets you move and attacks the same turn. Got it. If it has free, it's a free action and can be used during your action phase without getting an action token. Characters can still take an action after a free action. So it basically says like it'll tell you when something costs you an action or if it's a free action. Triggered effects are caused by something else. For example, an ability that says when this character would be targeted by an attack. That is triggered when they're attacked. The power would continue to say what happens when triggered. Passive effects are always on. For example, toughness always reduces damage taken by one and exploits weakness, always makes damage from a close pairing attack. Your whole floor is made out of roads. Some characters will have traits or special powers. Traits are designed designated by a star. You can play without them as you learn the basics, but start to read them once you play the game or two. So yeah, I want to try to keep this as light as possible without just like making it pointless. So I guess it's time to put some objects down. So here are the objects. There's 6 of them in here. All right, so there's the objects. So you got light objects and heavy objects. So there's just little pictures on these things of like hammers and stuff. And the other side are your heavy objects. They're red around the edge if they're heavy. They're yellow if they're light, which that lets you know how much extra damage they do. Light objects add like 1 extra damage. Heavy objects add 2. You have to have specific abilities to be able to pick them up. A regular person could lift the light objects. You have to have super strength to lift the heavier ones. So we're just going to put light objects out just to keep it simple. And it did say that you put 3 out for each team. So let's get these cards set here. Let's get these cards set here. Let's go ahead and set this team up. So we'll stick. We'll have Troy leading the charge. We'll get McGann over here. We'll get Cassie over here. Well, McGann's flying, so let's put her on the low terrain, her on the high terrain. And let's put these psychopaths on the map. So they're both in this upper terrain up here, separated by that red line. And then on the other side, we got McGann actually on the lower terrain. She'd have to come up steps. She is a flying character. That's something that's different with this newer game. Back in the day, the flying characters had little dials to represent if they were low to the ground, if they were actually soaring in the air. When they were soaring, they could ignore the elevated terrain. But yeah, let's just put some objects out. I'm going to put 3 out on my side. Let's see. And we'll put 1 in the corner there. Then let's put 3 out over on the other side.
He's healed up. Look, Mommy. Mommy, look. That is healed up. Because the fire, because of all of the blood went away. Because somebody shot.
All right, so we got the objects out on the field. Okay. The abilities card, I'm going to need that to quick reference. I don't know if I'll need the barriers, the smoke, and the debris, but I'll keep that out just to see the action. And the other ones of these, I do not think that I'll need for this little game. So the scenario card is pretty much done for now. Just got a KO. I'm going for the KO. Each team needs a KO. All right, let's see. So let's roll to see who goes first. So we're gonna roll for the Titans, Team Titans here. We got a 6. Now let's roll for our villains. We got a 4. So the Teen Titans are going first. Let's read about this terrain and then let's run over it. If you're just getting started, you can skip playing with the rules for terrain. Oh, wow, that's the first thing they say. So it's clearly going to get complicated for the terrain. Heroclix maps sometimes have special color around the squares that let you know about the special properties of that square. Purple shows a starting area, but has no further terrain effect. So that's where they're at now. They are in those purple squares, so that color is just for right now. Blocking, this I do want to use. Blocking terrain is surrounded by a thick brown line, which you can see right here, how it's a thick brown border around that, as well as the statues that are out here. I think there's one right here for a good reference. All right, let's see what else we got. Movement, a character can't move through or into blocking terrain. So this is off the map completely. Might as well be a 3D map and those things just be in the way. Line of fire, any line of fire drawn through blocking terrain is blocked. So you can hide behind these things. You can take cover and save yourself for your next turn, which is part of the reason why I definitely want to keep it on there. Hindering terrain is surrounded by green. So this is hindering. This is hindering that. Okay, that's a bush right there. Got it. So there's not a lot of hindering terrain. It's hiding here, hiding in the corner over there, up in the top corner of the map up there, some right here. So the water, how does the water work? They talk about that. I do have a blue line right here. I'm very interested to know how that would work. Let's see. All right, elevated. Here we go. Did they get into water? Where's the thing get into water? Get into water already. I remember reading about water. It was used as in the old game as hindering terrain. It wasn't ever anything deep. It was just considered hindering, which adds to your defense for ranged combat's attack. It gives you a little advantage. But when you're moving, if you hit hindering terrain, you have to stop. Kind of like if you were running and you just stepped into knee-deep water out of nowhere, you would come to an abrupt stop. And then it reduces your movement. You'd have to divide your movement by 2 to leave hindering terrain, as if it was hard to trudge your way out. But elevated terrain is surrounded by a red line. It represents terrain that is too tall to traverse through or see around, like a building or a hill, which that's like there's a line that starts here and it just runs the whole outline from the beach to this upper area where it's clearly supposed to be like concrete or whatever, stone. Characters can't normally change elevation without ladders or stairs. These are indicated by small diamond shapes on the map. Each half of the diamond is in a different elevation. So there are stairs right here where these red diamonds, as well as here, here, and the same where over there. So those are the stairs where I said it's the 1 and the 2 to let you know where you go up or down them in the direction in which they go. So you couldn't go just right here. Line of fire can't be drawn from low terrain through higher terrain to lower terrain. For example, a character cannot shoot through a hill to a target on the other side. So if you're up here, you cannot hit someone down here and vice versa. Transition squares. Squares along the boundary of elevated terrain that feature a red triangle with a number are transition squares. Characters can use transition squares to change elevation from lower to higher or vice versa. These often represent stairs, ladders, or even a hillside or slope. They allow characters that normally could not move across the boundary of elevated terrain to do so. Characters may also make close combat attacks targeting characters that occupy the square that borders the same transition square they occupy, i.e., the 2 triangles of the transition square form a diamond shape. So you can fight on those transition squares. The rim, here we go. If you're on the rim squares along the boundary of an elevated terrain that are adjacent to lower terrain, that's the rim. So where you follow this red line, if you're touching the red line, you are on the rim. Characters on the rim can be targeted by characters from lower elevation and vice versa. See 3 examples highlighted. All right. So like I mentioned, it's kind of like standing on the ledge of a building with your bow and arrow. You can shoot down at people and they can actually see you. They have a line of fire to you as well. Exactly. And I'm saying bow and arrow because we're live on the internet. I don't want to talk about if someone's up there with their sniper rifle.
That's why I said green hair.
Yeah. Other abilities, traits, improved abilities, team abilities, key phrases. So now they're getting into that. And this is the last page. There is a page for advanced concepts, and I ain't with it. Kyle, you're going to jump on this when it comes time? I'm about there.
Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna get take a shower. I'll be right back.
Everything your character can do is spelled out on their card, but not everything is power. Traits are indicated by the star symbol. They're noted on top of the combat dial, not within the window. I don't see if I have anybody with one of those. So, and like they mentioned, if you're just getting started, that's something you might want to pass on. I don't see a star or an example of one. You always have access to your traits, but traits will only apply to certain situations. For example, some traits will let you use a combination of powers, and other traits might let you use a power as a free action when normally couldn't be. There are lots of unique traits to discover in Heroclix. So that's something that's going to learn as I go, I'm sure. Improved abilities let a character move or target in ways they normally can't. First, an improved ability has movement or targeting followed by color symbols. The power action card explains what each one does. Team abilities are indicated by a full color symbol of character base. If you want to see all the team abilities in DC Heroclix, check the team abilities card included in the Wonder Woman Battleground. So I've got that. Key phrases or teams in Heroclix that have a special meaning. They're described in the PAC. So this is all just straightforward. A lot of it is just telling me to go to this. Just as you play, check these. So that's what we're going to do. Let's do this. So if I need to reference this for any questions. All right. So we've got a 300. Well, no, it doesn't necessarily have a 300-point team. It's just these are the ones it told us to play with. So it doesn't tell us on the scenario card how many characters can move per turn. All I can assume is that you're moving. Everyone can at least get one move per turn. That's all that I can assume. So 30, 16. It's only a 90-point game if you're doing it that way. But we're just going to assume that every character gets one move per turn. So that would kind of gives this team the advantage to be able to take a rest. So let's see if anybody has any special powers, because all I can really do at this point is check what they're doing and move them forward. There's obviously not a way to attack yet. Both of these characters, Donna Troy and Miss Martian, have a 6 for their range if they want to take a range combat attack. Wonder Girl has a 4. I believe that Star Sapphire is 6 and Silver Swan is 6 as well. Oh. Put these in order where my characters are. That'll help. So I'm not even used to having these cards. I already got them turning around. So the only one that has any color on their foot would be Donna Troy, and hers is gray. So just to check, she has a running shot, power, half speed, move, then range as free. So Donna Troy has the ability, because again, they only can move once. You can either move or attack. She has the ability to move and attack in the same turn. So she would be good. She's probably going to be attacking first in this game then. So let's move some people out. Miss Martian can move 8 squares. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can make it to this thing, not knowing what my opponent's powers are yet. We're going to go there and we're going to pick up that object. We'll just add it underneath us. It is a light object. Anybody can pick it up. So she's now holding a frying pan. Get that frying pan, son. I thought they could make 2 moves per turn. No, every character can only move once unless you have a character that has an ability to take 2 moves per turn, which one of them would cost you a token, and the other one would be what's considered a free action. Like her, she has a running shot, so she can move for her steps and then apply an attack to it, and that attack does not cost her. So let's see. Let's get. She's got 8 on her foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to put her behind this statue because I don't know what my opponents can do. And then Donna Troy, she's the one with the running shot. Do I want to say low or go high? I'm not sure. I got 2 different terrains here. This is the fun part. I've never done the 2 terrain before. Well, let's see. I think I might take her just to go back up Cassie. None of these people have like that leadership or probability. I've seen other games where people staying adjacent to their other characters give them the ability to have team powers. And I've seen on most people's games I've looked on YouTube and watched, there's a big thing about keeping your team grouped up as they move out and forward together. One thing I noticed, it looks like a Pee-wee soccer game, like a bunch of 4-year-olds playing soccer where they all stand right on top of each other. But I might do that a little bit with Donna. She has that running shot. I won't be able to perform a running shot with this turn, but I can at least get her out there. We can get her into the fight. I think I want to keep her with Cassie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to stop at 7 and just stay right behind her. So now let's go check out what this other team is up to. Take these cards over here. All right. So we got a 9 for Star Sapphire. We have a 9 running shot for that's telekinesis, which is her running shot. So Silver Swan has a running shot, and Star Sapphire does not. So she could actually hit again. Oh, I forgot to put these little tokens under here to show that they have made action. All right. These action tokens are really going to throw me off, man. Really going to throw me off. I'm going to have to take turns with them not making any moves and have times when these characters only make 1 move per turn to make it even a thing. I don't get it. I do not get it. But anyways, well, let's just try to figure it out. So 9 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to move her here, behind here, so they can't make just a direct attack. And give me 1 second. All right. And then Silver Swan, I wonder if I can actually hit McGann with a running attack. She has a range of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can get up to there, I can hit her with 1 without taking a move. I'm going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So she doesn't get into range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And she's not into range either. How funny is that? So those in theory would both have one of those action tokens. So this action token thing is just blowing my mind right now. Because normally you have, like, from what I've seen people playing, you have teams that are big enough to be able to set a character out, or they have like abilities. Where was that right there? Oh, that's close enough. Close enough. I don't know for sure, but I thought an action token is if they actually attack someone on the other side. But maybe it's if you move. It's if you. There's moves that require action and ones that don't. Moving and attacking are the ones that require action. Those are the 2. But the thing that gets me, this is a scenario-based game, so this is where it might. I don't know, like how it would factor into it. But like right now, I can move these people 1 more time, but then they can't move on their next turn. See, that's what's blowing my mind. That's where I get lost. Running shot, you have to have your movement, then you use the running. That's how you can attack without it. So Silver Swan and Donna Troy both have running shot, where on a turn, I guess part of their ability, they can move then attack, and the attack doesn't take an action turn, but the stepping would. But I just don't know. So, for example, if I moved Miss Martian up to start to fight her, that's 2 action tokens. Moved Cassie up to fight her, that's 2 action tokens. And didn't move Donna Troy, I could clear that action token off. Ugh. But see, this is what's confusing because there's only 2 people over there. They're just going to have to like sit out a turn. So the next one, you wouldn't want to move everyone, so that way they can move someone on the next turn while the others rest. Exactly. But with such small teams, it's weird, I guess. Okay. Yes. And clear. Okay, so I'm gonna have to just like be doing like one person, like move one of them per turn kind of thing, since it's such a small team game. Move one per turn and just call it the turn, basically, Jeff. All right, let's try that. It's this side's turn. All right, I have these cards. Let's get used to that. 8 on the steps. Let's just go interlock. Move Cassie and leave Troy for an attack. You would have 2 actions per turn, I believe. That makes more sense since there's just 2 of them over there. Because it's not, because I don't know if you saw, I used a scenario card that really doesn't specify. I use the Teen Titans Take Charge, where it just tells you your team and tells you to KO the other ones. And it would technically put it at like I guess if we're playing it by points, if I add it up, they're both at like, this is a 90-point team, and that's a 60-point team. So it would be like I wonder if I should just be playing it like 1 move per team kind of thing. If that's where, I think that makes a little bit more sense. If I based it on their point system instead of just assuming they all get a turn, this would be a 100-point game. So you'd move 1 character per side, and that would actually make the action token thing make more sense. Yeah, it is all coming together when I think of it like that. So I'm about to run it that way. We'll just move 1 person per team. And if that's the case, I need to move Donna Troy back. Take that off. Because it would have been like I moved one. Then it'd be over here to attack or move. And then you'd be clearing characters left and right. So then no one would ever get an action token, really, unless you moved them 2 in a row. So if I moved 1, then I moved her, it would have removed her action token. So I moved her, then moved her, it would have removed her action token. I'm rerunning this back in my head like we're only moving 1 per turn. So that was the last one to move. So then it would be on Donna Troy, and I would move her up to here, and then that would remove that action token. So the only way someone's getting 2 is if I move them back to back, like if they're in the middle of a fight. Okay, so we're doing one move per turn. It's all making sense now. Getting there. Okay, awesome. All right, so now we're back to where we were, but with the proper balance of action tokens. So I think I want to just run up Cassie and try to get into a fight real quick. Here I go again. She can move 8 steps, which is that top number. And she has an attack of 10, and that's all she can do. She can just run up. And if I can get into an adjacent square, and there is a light object right next to her that can help make my attack a little bit stronger. If I get into that adjacent square, Star Sapphire is stuck fighting me, but she gets the advantage of taking the first shot on me since she does not have any ability to attack and move in the same turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. And she did pick up that object. So that's that for that turn. So that would clear Donna Troy. All right, here we go. So she was the last one to move over there. So naturally, I'm going to try to attack her as to not give her. If I can attack her first, I have the possibility of weakening her a little bit. Let's see. So Star Sapphire has an attack of 11. Cassie there has a defense of 18 and it's red. So I've got to check this little thing for the defense in the red. It says super senses. When this character would be hit, you roll a d6. If I roll a 5 or 6, I evaded the attack. So defense is 18. Star Sapphire attack is an 11. So I have to roll a 7 or better for it to even potentially be a successful attack. For a 7 or better. So I rolled a 6 and a 5 for an 11. So it was a successful attack. But now because of her super ability, if I roll a 5 or 6, she misses. Let's see. It's a 4, so it's a successful attack. So she deals 2 clicks of damage, and it has a blue on it. So I have to check what the light blue is. Probability control. Once per turn, you may re-roll a target's attack. Roll a breakaway. Okay, so she has that probability. So I don't need to use it because it was a successful hit. So she does. It got 2 clicks of damage. So let's drop that. To go to her dial and dial her down to 1, 2. All right. So Cassie's looking a little weak. She's got a 10 for an attack, and she has probability control now as well. So I kind of want to make sure that I use that if I get into it. So this would put the second token on her because I am going to try to attack, and then she'll have to sit the next turn out. But that's okay. We're fighting. So she'll be spent the next turn. So I'm going for it. 10 to a 17 green. Green on the defense is energy shield deflection. Modify defense +2 against range combat. So her defense says 17, but if she was doing a distance attack, it would actually be 19. So good thing that I'm right up on her. It saved me from that gap. I have to roll a 7, and if I miss it, I do have that probability that I can try to do a re-roll on one. So let's see. So I did not get the 7. So let's look at that probability thing again. How does that work? Once per turn, you may re-roll a target character's attack or breakaway. A target character must be within range of line of fire minimum. All right, so am I using this right? So there we go. So I'm just going to re-roll for that probability. Got to get a 7. 6 plus 3 is 9. So I got 2, 1, 2. So Cassie spent. And Star Sapphire did hit her that last turn, so I need to put that under her from that last turn. Oh, and she had that light object. So let's the light object thing. Have a yellow ring and represent things a regular person can live, even if not easy, likely. Blah, blah, blah. Pick up a light object where they move through a square adjacent to that character. Can put down the object in any square they move through. Blah, blah. During a move, character may pick up an object and put it down, but not both. Characters can only hold one object at a time. Each player can place up 3 objects square. Blah, blah. Powers card. It doesn't say on the powers card about the objects, but from what I remember, the yellow ones just add 1 click, the red ones add 2 clicks of damage. So I'm just going to throw that extra click on there. So I'm going to pretend like that works. So Cassie has to sit out the next turn. We'll put that in our KO'd area. So now I have to use. I can use Star Sapphire to hit her again. She has a running shot. She is on that ledge, so she can be hit. She's also in 1, 2, 3, 4. She's not in range. To be honest with you, I kind of want to swing her in and just. But Cassie's dead in the water for the next turn too. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to try to KO the hell out of Cassie real quick because I can running shot with her. Cassie's stuck, and that'll clear her token. Then I can try to do a running shot with her. Let's see. It's kind of weird playing this 2 different ways. So let's see. Let's running shot, which cuts your range in half, but it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Red defense. Range combat extras. Character modifies attack damage +1 while making a range combat. Now I need to look at the defense. Super senses. She still has that evade option. So 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't get in close combat, so she'll always keep that. That's been cleared. She'll always get that evade thing. So let's just get this one right back. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is as close as I can get. And 10 to a 7. I have to roll a 7, then she has that probability. Let's see. Did not get it. So now she can try to hit her close 10 to a 17. So trying to hit her with Star Sapphire. Got to roll a 7 for 2 clicks of damage. Got it. So that's 2 clicks of damage to Cassie. That might have killed her. No, wait, it's not her turn. I'm sorry. That is this team's turn now. So in an attempt, all right, so we got her right up on her. Missed the attack, but at least she's there. Cassie's stuck. She can't run away because she did that double attack. She has to clear this turn, so I got to use one of these. Oh, is that old rules? I know old rules it did. Running shot doesn't cut range in half. See, that's where I wanted to get this new set. I'm like sitting here just not taking the time to look at all the little details anymore. Yeah, it does say it cuts it in half though on the running shot right here. If I'm reading this correctly, it reads running shot power, half speed, move, then range is free. So half speed, which would cut my running shot in half, then move, then my range is the free action. So it still says it cuts it in half from the bottom there. Half speed, move, then range is free. So yeah, from the way I know that's how it was in the old game, and that's kind of read that.
We good?
Half your movement. Yeah, that's what I was cutting in half. I'm sorry, I might just be using some of the terminology wrong, but when I said my range, I just meant like how far I can walk. That's why I only moved. That's why I was still 1 square away from her. I wish I could have gotten right up on her because it would have taken away that probability control. But yeah, I'm sorry. That's just me not having all the lingo up to snuff. It's my fault. So at this point, I think I would try to use the running shot with Donna. Because looking at him, I would want to. Star Sapphire would want to go next. She has no action tokens. Naturally, she'd want to go next so she doesn't get locked down for a turn like Cassie is. And if I can get a successful running shot with Donna to Star Sapphire, that can reduce how much damage she could possibly do to Cassie next. So I know I can pick this up along the way and deliver more damage. That seems like the best move is just to go for that running shot there. I appreciate it, man. Figure the only way to get there is just to go for it, Just sometimes it takes just getting through it, and it's still fun all the same. So I'm going to go for that. So she has a running shot. She can take up to 8 steps. I just have to get in line of fire, which actually might be more difficult than it seems because we have this blocking terrain there. This book didn't explain how the blue terrain works. Does the blue terrain still just works like regular hindering terrain, where as soon as I hit the blue terrain, I have to stop? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can get right there into that hindering terrain, it gives me line of sight, and I'd be stopping in it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, because this didn't give me nothing about blue terrain on here. But I remember I'm trying not to do it, but with the old rule set, it treated blue terrain as hindering terrain with the same rules. Core rulebook. Core rulebook ain't got nothing about no blue terrain. Come on, man. That burn, man. Breakaway pacing. Moving.
There it is. Here's your beer.
It's water, and I don't believe it impedes movement anymore. Okay. All right, well, I'm still just going to end in it. So we're going to go with what Jeff has got going on. I'm inclined to use it as hindering terrain, but that would, if I don't know for certain, that would be unfair to use because it would increase. I'd see sometimes having the old rules, I don't know how much it helps me because standing and hindering terrain added 1 to your defense against ranged combat attacks. So I don't know but if that's just a little puddle, it wouldn't matter. It's a fountain. It didn't like to be over my head. So we've got a move of 8 for a running shot. So I can move up to 4 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. And I picked that up along the way going over it. So she has a range of 4 now. And my attack is a 10. Star Sapphire's defense is a 17. No superpowers on it anymore. So I've got to roll a 7. It's just 7, 7, 7, 7. Did not get it. Dadgum. That does clear Cassie, which is awesome. There's been a lot of unsuccessful attacks happening. Good grief. Does that mean that I take the object off, Jeff? How I have the object attached and I missed the attack. Is that like missing throwing that frying pan at him? How does that work? Let's see. We'll find these objects again. Objects. I know I seen you just a second ago. It'll be easier to learn Heroclix without objects on a map at first. After you're comfortable with the figures on your team, try adding an object or two more advanced games. See, it doesn't even tell you. It just tells you it's confusing. It's not helpful at all. I'm just going to have to assume that I threw it and I missed. That's all I can assume. So we'll throw that in our KO'd area. At this point, since Star Sapphire is cleared, I want to use her next. And she can hit Cassie or Donna Troy. It would be advantageous to go for Donna Troy, who's more powerful, because she can't hit anyone but Cassie. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for Donna Troy. I've got line of sight. I'm in range. I got a blue 10 for the attack. Let's see what my attack talking about. What is it? Dark blue? Dark blue 10. So that's penetrating psychic blast. When this character makes a ranged attack, damage is penetrating. So there's no defenses up on Donna Troy. No, you can only lose an object if you miss a close combat attack or you throw an object and miss. You weren't throwing your object. Okay. I don't understand. I don't really. Oh, like, well, I guess I don't know how to consider it throwing an object, to be honest with you. So we'll stick that there and just save it for close combat attack if I get up there. So she's got a 10 and a defense of 17. Brown. Impervious. Reduce damage taken by 2. When this character would take damage from an attack, you may roll a 5 or 6. Damage is reduced to 0. So that's the same thing as probability, but just considered by a different power. So what was the number on it? It was a 17 and a 10. Again, I'm rolling for a 7 here. Got it with a 10. So now I have to roll her for a 5 or 6 to see if the damage is reduced to 0. And it is not, thankfully. So it does 2 clicks of damage. 1, 2. So there's 2 clicks of damage to her. So I kind of want to So that would clear this one. Get used to clearing characters here. And it would put it under her. So now let's see. Cassie. Who should Cassie attack? It's really Cassie needs to attack somebody here. She's in the middle of it. I might try to break away. Just for funsies. I don't know how long she's got left in this game if she doesn't get. She got to get. There's only like 4 clicks, 5 clicks of damage all these characters are going to be taking this game. Yeah, they're all the 6 clicks they KO. I guess Cassie can go down swinging. To hell with running. Let's get her to attack this lady here. She's got an 18. Good grief. With what color is that? Like a brownish yellow. Is that right? So that'd be impervious as well. So let's go for it. She does 2 clicks damage. I got to roll an 8. Let's see if I get it. No, I've got a 7 of all things. Wow. So Cassie, you get one of these. Donna, you come up off of yours. And we move to the other team. So we're going to try to attack Cassie. Let's hit her. She still has that roll to see if it's a successful attack. 17 to a 10. Got to roll that 7. Let's see. Wow. Oh, there we go. So that's what's called a critical hit. So rolling 2 6s. So if we look at critical hit, it adds a click of damage to what you're already delivering. So I wonder if with her ability, she does have that ability where I should roll a die to see if I get a 5 or 6 to see if it's even successful, but it's a critical hit. I wonder if that. Yes, I'm playing them on the 30-point starting line. Yeah, that's what the scenario card called for, to start everyone on the 30. So they all die on click number 6. Adds 1 damage and causes knockback. Yeah, but I'm wondering if it's with her having the super senses. If does it affect the super senses? Roll 2 6s. Add 1 to the attack. Furthermore, because you roll double 6s, this is a critical hit. If I have a 3, she deals 3 damage to the dummy. But because it's critical hit, she also deals 1 additional damage to the dummy for a total of. All right. All hits that have doubles cause knockback. So you may push the dummy up to 3 squares away from Wonder Woman. So she's not a close combat. Does it matter that it's not close combat? This is a range. There's 1 square between them. Does that have anything to do with the knockback? And is knockback required? How does that work? Because she is adjacent to a different character. Her and Star Sapphire are adjacent, but her and my attacking character are not.
How about this? Do you want to go outside and you can ride your tricycle?
We're going up. Yay!
Not the red one, the black one that sounds like a motorcycle.
Okay.
The other one that you read, and Sister read, and the red one.
That was boy.
Why?
I believe knockback is your choice. All right. So I'm just going to deal the damage, add the click to it, and leave the knockback alone. Oh, wait, let's see. So the damage is 3. Wow. So it's going to do 4 clicks of damage to poor Cassie here. This should do her in 1, 2, 3, and she's out. She's going into our KO'd area. She's seeing all red on the dial. She's done. All right. So this is no longer needed. So we'll move this over to here. All right, poor Cassie. She put up a fight. So I'm going to take her team card and set it out of my way. I'm already doing a horrible job even looking at these things. I have them all. Also, if you have them on their click side. This is the first time I've ever played a game using the cards versus just off their dial, which obviously you can tell I keep picking up their dials and reading it. But at the same time, their abilities change as their dials go down, so it's still somewhat necessary. All right, Megan has no running shot. She has a blue fist. What does that even mean? Penetrating psychic blast. Damage is penetrating. All right, let's attack with Donna Troy. She's got a 10 with no superpower on it. She's got a 17 with no defenses. So as we've seen, and you wouldn't be able to be knocked back if someone wasn't behind the person being knocked back. All right, so let's see. So I got to roll 7. Boom, 7 on the dot. I hit a 1 and a 6. So for 2 clicks of damage, Star Sapphire 1, 2, and that KO'd her. Boom. So she's out. So that just freed up that because she can't move. And now at this point, I definitely need clarity at this point. She's the only player on the game. She just made an action the last move. Now, how are the action tokens going to work when you only have one person left on your team? That's something that's confusing. So these action tokens are something that I just not got my head wrapped around yet. Since we've lost the ability to push characters, because I've never played. This is my first game ever playing with the rules with no pushing. Like I played one game. This is my 3rd game playing Heroclix in 15 plus years. So my daughter and myself played the OG version, old map, old figures, old rules, that kind of stuff. And for the most part, it seems the same. It doesn't seem confusing. It's still you just read and see what your powers and capabilities are as you go. It's all pretty straightforward. But these daggum tokens. So will she have to every 2 turns? Will she have to just forfeit a turn to clear her tokens, Jeff? I'll wait on your reply. I'm going to go ahead and move Megan up here. So she has a move of 8. She's capable of range. She does have black on the pow pow. Black on the pow pow, outwit free. Minimum range 6. Choose a target opposing character within range and line of fire, and then choose 1. Any standard or a special power printed on the target's card. Target can't use that chosen power until the next turn. Oh, I can deactivate one of her abilities with mine. And it's a free move. There's no line of fire for it.
This got some pickle juice.
Can I have some? Nom, 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 nom. Thank you, buddy. You got to go outside. Go put your socks on.
What is that pink one?
Where?
That pink one.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Star Sapphire.
Right.
Hey, Marky. I'm trying to figure out the game. All right, so Jeff said yes. So she's at a huge disadvantage being 1 down. So let's go ahead and move Megan up. She can move 8. So I'm just going to move her 4 to a 6. But she can't get out of range. She has a running shot. So I'm going to move her here.
I'm going to watch.
Okay. So now it's going to cost her a token, but she's going to have to attack Miss Martian. She's got the running shot, and then the defense.
What is this card?
She has a 10,
Daddy?
2, and 18.
Daddy, what is this?
Oh, no.
What is it? What is it, Daddy?
I don't know.
No, can we play with it?
10, 2, and 18.
No,
so we got to
Daddy!
roll an 8. Did not get it. So she's stuck for 2 turns. So she's cleared from that last one. So I'm going to use Donna Troy next. So I'm going to go pow pow pretty much. So Donna Troy, 10. She's not even in range, not line of sight. So running shot. Oh, she lost her running shot.
Me has hair, Daddy. But hey, they got carrot juice in it.
She has green.
I got strawberry.
So she can go half speed. All right. So she went from a running attack to a charge. So 1, 2, 3, 4. She can do a charge. So I'm going to do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and she does have that object with her. So the attack is a 10. The defense is an 18. If I roll an 8, this will inflict. This will inflict.
Hey, can I play 2?
3 clicks of damage. So let's see if I can get the 8. Got it with 9. So 3 clicks of damage. That might have taken the game. 1, 2, 3. So she's still in there. That was the first damage she's taken. This goes to our KO area. And this goes
Which one
there.
is it?
So back up off the game board, please. So now technically it would be her turn. So she's not going to take a turn. She's going to clear. And that was her turn. That was, did Star Sapphire Silver Swan get killed?
Do you hit
Yeah.
someone? Do you hit it? What do you hit?
Yeah, they
Battle.
did get KO'd.
Do you get hit or KO'd? Mommy, help!
Oh, I forgot about
Daddy,
that.
help
You
me!
need down? Oh, you stuck.
Hey, Daddy, does this thing?
All right, there you go.
Why does this change into that?
All right, we're about to get ready to go outside. Go get this to go outside. I am. And so I think I forgot to read that card. Might have to reverse this real quick. If Star Sapphire or Silver Swan are KO, place the cheetah in the square they occupied. This game, the cheetah's damage is +1. So let me, again, reverse this whole thing. So put her there. Give her this little majigger bob there. Star Sapphire got KO'd by the shot. So I need to take Cheetah, put her there. Man, I forgot where I was. Them kids done messed me up. So Cheetah takes the spot she was occupying. So that's that. Put her back at green because now she wasn't ever actually successfully hit. So Cheetah now occupies the spot. So now, good grief, this is where we're at. Oh wow, and Cheetah, she has no range, but she's the first character out of this game so far with the 2 lightning bolts. Cheetah comes in with no action tokens. So but these need to go back under her because that's where she was. So now she's not going to be locked up right now. So we moved her up, we attack, and so that puts an action token under Donna. All right, so there we are. Donna just attacked Star Sapphire, knocked her out. Cheetah took her place. So now we're back. We're up. I put my thing down, flip it in reverse, sit. I like how you spelt that, Ag. It's like spot on, dude. All right, let's see what Cheetah's got going on. I guess I would need her card. And it didn't say if she's on green or red. I'm assuming she's on green as everyone else has been. All right, Cheetah comes in with green. The rest dies on the 6th one there. And she has a charge. So now that we're here, this is where we're at. Looks like Cheetah's about to go ham. So I'm going to let Cheetah run up on Donna. And I think that the villains only have to kill 2 good guys to win this game. If you win, KO 2 opposing characters. No, it proceeds to a different scenario. I don't get that. I don't understand that. Proceed to scenario G. Scenario G is its own thing.
No, I gotta find the blue ones. They didn't fall all of my blue. The one blue one. And the other blue one.
We're just going to play these out the KO at this point. Then we're going to take the kids outside. Let's see. So, Cheetah, you have to move because the other one can't. You got 10. You got a charge attack. So, you're going to charge Miss Donna Troy. There we go. She has 18, and it's toughness. Reduced damage taken by 1, which is good because she has a 3. So, I got to roll it. I got to roll a 7, of course. 11 to an 18. Roll a 7 for 2 clicks of damage instead of 3. And I got it. So 2 clicks of damage. 1, 2. Good gracious. And the good news is these come off of her, so she's actually not locked down. Put 1 up on her. All right, Donna, you've got to, we have to push the character here. And by push her, I mean just hit her with another action token. She needs to reduce the damage that Cheetah is doing to her, and she has this heavy, this light object. So with a successful attack, she can do 4 clicks of damage. She has a 10 attack with no special abilities against an 18 with red on it. So that's probably super senses. Oh, so it's a chance I might not hit it. So I have to roll an 8, just then have to roll a little probability super senses thing. I got the 8, so that's 9. So now I have to roll 1. If I roll a 5 or a 6, it is not a successful attack. It's a 2, so it was a successful attack. So that's 3 plus 1. So I'll bash her over the head with that toaster right there. So for 4 clicks of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that did a lot. One more shot and Cheetah is dead. So I think we're gonna let them just cat fight it out, to be honest with you guys. I'd have to roll to break away. Donna can't move on the next turn. So Cheetah gets a free pass for this one. Let's see. Let's see. She's got a 10 still. She's got an 18. No inherent abilities that I would want to roll to try to shut down. So let's roll an 8 to try to get Silver Swan to hit Miss Martin. And we hit a 10, so it's a successful hit. 3 clicks of damage. 3 clicks of damage. One, 2, 3. Wow. All right, so now I cannot use Donna Troy. I've got to use Miss Martian. So I've got a blue 10 to a yellow. Let's see what the blue is first. Is it dark or light blue? It is dark blue, penetrating, so that's not applicable, I don't think. An orange. Orange. Toughness. Reduced damage taken by 1, so it'll only do 2 clicks of damage. 10 to an 18. Got to roll an 8 to hit it. Got it. Man, I wish that was a critical hit. So 2 clicks of damage because it reduced by 1. 1, 2. So there's the 2 clicks of damage. So when she attacked, so this should be under her right now. All right. So back to the cat fight over here with Cheetah. It's pretty much turning into a brawl. So she has that red fist now. Blades, claws, fangs. Here we go. Let's see what this is all about. Ruben Phillips. That's the link to the real rulebook.
Hey, Bear.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you help me get the big stroller down? Not the 2-person stroller, the other one. I think it's
The jogger one? In just a minute. By the time you're ready, I should be.
Oh, are you coming?
Yeah, we're going outside?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I figure when we get back, we can bring the roundy round up.
Link to the real rule book. I don't see a link in here really. Mommy has pockets? Oh, that's good news. Hey, you guys, Mommy has pockets. That's awesome. Ruben, I don't know if you'll be able to drop links in the chat or not, my man, but my Instagram and Facebook link is in the description of all my videos. If you want to hit it to me on one of those, that'd be cool. I just got this core rule book right now, which has been immensely helpful, but there's still more that's in there. Yeah, Nosh said it's always nice to have pockets, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. And it's pockets and gym shorts. I'm really good.
So let's read this Blades Claws of Things. When this character makes a close attack against a single target and hits, you may roll a d6. If you do, deal damage equal to the result instead of normal damage. Wow. Minimum result is the character's printed damage value -1. So the minimum value would be 1 because she's got a 2. So she's got an attack of 9 and she has a defense of 18 and it is toughness, so I've reduced by 1. So let's see. I have to roll at 9, so that's a high roll. Let's see if I can get it. Oh, and it's a critical hit. So as you see, I just hit the double critical hit there. So with her power ability, would I still just roll 1 die and take the outcome of the roll? And would I +1 to it? There's still that's the kind of little detailed, nuanced questions that I really need to be able to be playing with an experienced person to help me out with this kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for the Blades, Claws, and Fangs. So the Blades, Claws, and Fangs hit a 4. So it would do 4 clicks of damage, but it was a critical hit. How does that work? Very, very, very confusing. It's not very confusing. It's just little questions like that come up regularly.
No, you can ride your bicycle. You're not. You're riding in the red one. This monkey's gonna be in
Anybody out there know how that works? You do not get the extra damage if you roll the blades. Okay, so what's odd? Well, that actually came out 1 higher because it would be. She does 2 clicks, so it would have only been 3 clicks with the critical hit, but it's 4 with that. And I'm pretty sure that's going to kill Donna. Yeah, she only had 1 left in her, so she's dead. And that is, I think, what the scenario called for the villains. The Star, Sapphire, and Silver Swan are KO'd. Place the cheetahs where they're occupied. She does damage. So it says on here, if you win KO 2 opposing characters, proceed to scenario G. But scenario G doesn't like just smoothly line up to it. Scenario G has a completely different scenario with different characters that get added into the board and stuff like that. So not sure how that's going to roll, but I'm just going to call it right there. I've been going for like almost 2 hours from setting up and all that stuff. And I'm about to go outside and play with these kids now that both of them are up for their nap. I'm going to call that a victory for the villains and hope to fire this back up. Might even fire it back up later this evening and not necessarily use this set, but I'm glad to have the rules and like the core rule book at least in hand. This is the first like in hand rule books and stuff that I've gotten since I started picking back up. I did print some out. It was definitely helpful, but just playing through it is a lot helpful. Maybe the wife and I can get the kids down. I can get her to sit across from me and decimate what I got going on again. There's a lot that I really would like to go live to do and stuff. Like I've got like some cool Green Lantern characters and some constructs that I don't really know how to put them into play yet. But we're going to call that a W for the villains. Cheetah took them out. And yeah, I appreciate all you guys that popped in and gave me some help and feedback. If you're not familiar with the channel, I do primarily comic book stuff. I do a lot of new comic book reviews, a lot of live hangouts and all that. I do a live spoiler-filled show every Sunday night talking about comics, movies, shows, and do a wide open invite community hangout on Friday mornings. And I got an awesome channel membership. If you want to hit that join button and read about that, you can always hit that button and read about it without committing to anything. And yeah, so at that with the kid trying to drag her car out the house, I'm gonna go give her a hand. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, we are Legion.